aga stream ei ole laivis praegu. Good evening, everyone, and very warm welcome to Estonishing Evenings. I think it's 17th event. My name is Silver Tamber. I'm the chief editor of Estonian World, which is a media partner of this Estonishing Evenings event series. Those of you who are here for the first time at the Estonishing Evenings events, we've started about 2.5 years ago. 4 like-minded individuals, me, Nele, Reelika, and Leene. And why we did it, we all lived abroad at some point in our lives, and we wanted to have an event where people from other countries who have come to live in Estonia and Estonians could meet and learn more about each other, share information, etc. So we've had 16 events before on various topics. List is now too long to remember, but we've had events on working culture, history, religion, diversity, gender gap, also a couple of political debates before each election, before the local election, before the European Parliament election, and before the general election. But tonight we've got something very different. The event is called How to Survive as a Man in Estonia. And we've obviously invited here 4 distinguished guests, Jörgen Matsi, Justin Petrone, Luis Zezeran, and Margus Vaher. 2 of them are from other countries, Luis from Australia, Justin from the United States, and 2 Estonians. And tonight's event will be moderated by Reelika, part of our team, Reelika Virunur. She is also one of those global Estonians, as we all behind Estonishing Evenings. She's lived in Germany and in Spain and back in Estonia now. It will be her debut as a moderator, so be kind to her and I wish her good luck. Tonight I'm taking a back seat and watching the event, but I'm sure you're very happy about that. And Reelika will introduce all the panelists in detail, but also we've got Slido. So Slido code is #B655. All you need to do is go to Slido platform, type in that code, and you can ask some questions. Now, please, if you want to ask the questions yourself here, in public, then that would be even better. But if there are questions that you don't dare to ask, then use Slido. There was something else. Oh, okay. Someone complained why about men, and send me a question why you're not having an event about women. I'm sure we'll do that in future. And
we actually had one already.
Exactly, we've had one as well before. But anyway, so the stage is yours, and hope you have a good event tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Silver. It's actually my debut here, but I've been also running events since I was in high school, so thanks. So, small introduction of our lovely 4 gentlemen. 3 of them I've met personally before and can introduce very well. Let's start from there. Jörgen Matsi. Jörgen is currently working at Pipe Drive, that you all might know, as a personal coach. And he has been also working as a psychotherapist, sport psychology counselor, and teaching and research assistant at the University of Tartu. And he's also running Võimla, which is one of the biggest mixed martial arts and Brazilian jiu-jitsu gyms in Estonia, and being also a pioneer in these combat sports. So in about an hour, we'll have a break, and if there's anything interesting you want to talk about personally or ask these gentlemen, then you know what to ask from there. Then we have Justin Petrone, who's been living in Estonia on and off since 2003. Justin might be the best known for his My Estonia books, all 3 of them, that you can read in English and Estonian both, is also a journalist for many daily newspapers and writing columns as well. And Justin currently has 3 kids, right?
Currently, yeah.
And so, just as background info, and so does Jörgen. So,
Did you also have 3 children?
Yes. Oh. Yes, so you can shake hands. Luis does not have children yet.
Yes. Very clever.
Yeah. And Justin is from United States, as already mentioned, and Louis from Australia. So they'll be speaking for the expat community in Estonia.
No, you speak for Australia.
I speak for all of Australia. Fuck yeah.
Very good. So Louis is known as one of the co-founders of Comedy Estonia and has led basically the development of stand-up comedy in Estonia since we kind of knew nothing about it before. And you've also worked in theatre production and marketing in Sydney, and then were backpacking across Europe and decided to stay in Estonia.
Correct.
You can tell more about that later. And Luis is also a comedian, media personality, writing for the local version of the Cosmopolitan.
How old is that? Oh my God.
That's from your page. You should check that.
I should.
Yeah, we don't have Cosmopolitan here anymore, but also speaking at conferences, hosting many events. I remember one event we had with TransferWise years ago, where you were the host. So, and again, last but not least, Margus Vaher I've known personally since 2005. Yeah. We were selling books together in US. What a great summer it was.
Dream job.
Not surprised.
I was 20, you were a few years older.
This is a great story.
It is. I think we both got arrested there. So,
yeah.
This is like sing about it or something.
And Margus has been a professional singer and musician for over 11 years. You have 5 albums already. So a lot of the Estonians should know Margus quite well. He's one of the authors and performers at the very popular stand-up show. In English, it's called What Do Men Really Want? Without Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah.
But with Margus Vaher, Eero Spriit, and Jesper Parve. They've had already over 100 performances all over Estonia. And Margus has written 2 books. One of them just came out last week.
It's coming out on 7th of November.
Okay.
How to Love a Woman.
Okay. How to Love a Woman.
Yeah.
Very good topic. So
I know. Believe me, I know.
Very good to hear. At least one person in this country. And the previous book he wrote, The Way to a Man's Heart. So clearly an expert here. So on the 7th, I guess you have some opening sessions in the bookstores as well.
A what?
Opening session for the book.
Yeah. In
Apollo
November.
or
You can
Viro,
always
Rahva Viro.
find it on Facebook, yeah.
Sure. And last but not least, Margus is also very passionate about bullying in schools, which I guess is a topic in every
loves doing it.
country.
Yeah, I love doing it.
And yeah, against bullying, and has given lectures together with Helena Adamson in
Already 300 lectures, yeah.
300 lectures in different schools. So applause to our performers, speakers. Okay, let's get started. So the first half of the event will have some questions prepared for our panelists, as mentioned. And then on the other half, we encourage all of you to ask questions, either personally or on Slido. And we'll have a short break in between. So let's start. Our first question would be, who is the typical Estonian man? Do you agree with the stereotypes that we have about Estonian men? And what is your personal experience?
What are the stereotypes about Estonian men? I don't know, you asked
That were really cold, emotionally unavailable motherfuckers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just inappropriately
pretty
you
much.
swearing. Okay.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
I just heard a nice, somebody said to me that he heard that Estonian men have two emotions. One emotion is not having an emotion, and the other emotion is feeling shit.
Awesome.
So that's one of the
Wraps it up.
stereotypes.
Don't say anything until about 5 beers in, then you won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah. But I think that both, actually, Estonian women and men are kind of like unaware. 90% of them are unaware of their potential, and they don't live their dream lives. And that's why maybe we go to how are commentariumid in English? We make a comment on online articles
Online
all the
commentary.
time.
Oh, right.
But
So
it's
that's
like,
like
it's if you go by online commentary, then YouTube commentary is international, and you don't get any worse than that. So,
Okay.
No,
so it's maybe 90% of the people in the world.
I think we're just too humble and introversial. Yeah.
Introversial sounds good.
Yeah.
Introversial.
Yeah. Yes.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Introversial.
Justin, what do you think? You've written a lot on that topic. So.
About Estonian what
men
I
and-
think about them.
You mentioned that you don't feel that you fit in Estonia because you're not so good with
Nah.
handicraft.
No, it's,
Making things with
Oh,
hands.
yeah.
I remember
That's
that from your
legend-
books.
That's legendary, but no, it is kind of, it's, I wouldn't say it's annoying, but it's definitely weird because at one point there's like incredible intimacy. For example, like I just went to Pärnu, and you get into a whole sauna with all these naked guys. They're like rivi in a row, and then nobody says any goddamn thing in the sauna.
Yeah.
And one time I was in there with what's his name, Evert Sundja, the musician, and he knows who I am, and I know who he is, and we sat right next to each other in the sauna, and we didn't say one word to each other.
Why didn't you start?
Because it's weird. It's like.
Exactly. What sort of psychopath wants to talk in the sauna?
There's
Why?
like some,
Don't
like-
talk. It's easy.
And then another time it was like Michael Lotman, and it was sort of, I know who you are. And he looked at me too, like, I know who you are. But we didn't say anything to each other.
Guys thing. Why do we? I want to talk
Well,
to you.
I
Shut
have
up.
to say that women do talk in the sauna.
We do say stuff like, could you go get another
Further.
bucket full of water? Or, you know, kas viskame üks leili veel, you know, that kind of
Okay.
thing gets talked about. Okay, one time in the sauna in Pärnu, there was this big discussion going on because one older guy was instructing the others how to fix tractor.
Okay.
And he was really passionate about it, and they were all like, wow, really? Oh, wow, that's so cool. And I thought, he's talking about a freaking tractor.
Okay.
Like, this is what gets these guys excited, is talking about a tractor? Okay. And I was totally perplexed because there's this big sign outside the sauna, like, you're not allowed to go in with honey or with the viht.
Yeah.
I thought, who the hell is going to bring, like, honey or a viht to the public sauna? But apparently it's, like, such a big problem in Pärnu. They had to put up big signs, like, you're not allowed to bring honey into the sauna anymore.
Okay.
So,
Well, back to the topic. Jörgen, what do you think are who is the stereotypical Estonian man?
Well, I don't like
This
stereotypes
outside
too
the
much.
sauna.
It's like most of the stereotypes, they're like about an average that doesn't exist really. And it's like when, like, obviously, like for men, it's kind of, it is weird to talk about feelings for humans at all, but kind of for men, socially acceptable to obviously men, we're still humans. We have other emotions than the two I previously mentioned, but we're kind of socialized into expressing emotions not so much, really. Like the only socially acceptable emotion that is kind of considered manly is that you have to express anger, right? When somebody pisses you off and you're angry, then that's considered manly.
Yeah, but then you can go to jail if you express it.
Yeah, if you express it too much, obviously. But then, like, it's manly men who go to jail, right? So that's the stereotype there, at least, and the dysfunctional one. But with other emotions, like if you express sadness, or even like if you're giddy, expressing joy about something, for stand-up comedians maybe, but definitely not for the average man. So,
do you think these stereotypes are changing?
I really hope so. I think
both of you, Margus and Jörgen, have sons. So, do you raise your sons any differently than your fathers would have raised you?
Yeah, I think so. I let my daughters paint his nails if they all agree on that. So
I painted my nails. I don't care.
Yeah. But it's like if I consider like my childhood, I couldn't get my nails painted.
But you, as I understand, you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, correct? Right? Now, that's two things. First of all, you're skilled in the martial arts. So you're a man who is confident in himself. That, I know there's a certain confidence, not just I can walk around anywhere and not be bothered, intimidated or anything, but just that gives a certain sense of self-confidence. Number two, you're used to having your face being pushed against another man's crotch and like this, being rubbed against it and then getting out of it. I think both of those things may give you a very unique perspective.
Yeah, probably.
That's why
true.
I invited him.
Right.
Sure.
I think initially what I had misconstrued as coldness or aloofness at the beginning was actually just being shy. I think, and that goes for all Estonians. I thought that they were like really jerks. Like, why are these people such assholes to me? What the hell did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you acting? But it's just they're sort of like, like you can't like hug someone. Not everyone, but some people you couldn't hug them. They turn red, and it's just better off not to touch. So.
Okay, Margus, what do you think? You've been in the States long enough, many times. Is there a such thing as a stereotypical Estonian man? Is it changing?
Of course it's changing. I think that my son, Maru, is like 16 years old, and he's really like an indigo child. And I don't have anything to teach him. He just teaches me. Okay. So he's kind of like the next generation, volume 502.
Very good. So the modern man.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Another topic that I've discussed with many of my male expert friends in Estonia. How many male friends do you have? How easy is it to make good male friends in Estonia that actually talk to you in the sauna? So what is your experience, both, again, from the Estonian as well as local side?
Okay, mine is a really simple answer. I have a brother who's a really good friend, and 99% of my friends are female. Yeah.
I have the same ratio with men, I would say. Yeah.
She didn't see it.
That's not Estonian, that's just being white.
Yeah.
I don't actually have many foreign friends at all. I don't know, I only mostly hang around with Estonians. They're mostly comedians. They're mostly those friends that I've had for a long time. So actually, I've never been to one of these events before. Here, so yeah, I don't know, I don't particularly flock. I've never particularly flocked towards hanging out with other foreigners. I'm like, if I wanted that, I would stay at home. So I'm here instead.
So most of your friends are Estonian men?
Yes, correct.
So that's good to hear.
Awesome.
I mean, really retarded ones, but yeah, sure, still like, not clever, but still, yes.
Justin, what do you think?
About how many male friends I have?
Yeah, how hard is it to make male friends in Estonia?
I would say it took time for them to warm up because they're still sort of like, well, he's võõras, or we'll let him in, but not into like what we really talk about in the club when they're not around, Sure. So yeah, it took a while. I definitely have some like close friends now about which you can speak about anything, but it took time to warm up into that. where they're like, okay, now you can come into the sauna with us for real. And it's but the thing is that they do like some really crazy shit. I hate to use the word, like they really do some crazy stuff, and there will be times when you feel that this is outside of my comfort.
Give us an
Crazy.
example here.
What?
There was like a guy in Setomaa who had a speedboat, and they hooked a mattress up to the back of it, and they were gonna go around the lake on the back of the mattress.
I think later
that's
there's
awesome.
a question. There's a question about why Estonian men die so early. So
That will come.
And they
That
asked me
will
like,
come.
"Do you want to
definitely.
come? Do you want to come too?" And I don't really ever feel the urge to be on a mattress. So I
Self-preservation.
skipped on it. I'm sorry I didn't go. Like beer and sauna is one thing, with mattress, the speedboat, it's the other thing. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
maybe
fair
my experience might also be that, like, while I was just claiming that I have all these Estonian male friends and aren't I clever, but I think though that because of my work, essentially, the comedy is my work, let's say, I have been almost forced together with these other people. Like, I sometimes look around my close friends, like Sander and maybe like Carl or something. I wouldn't know these guys if I was just a random foreigner. I wouldn't really, if I was just, you're living, you've got a life, a family, kind of a regular job, there's no way I would know Sander Oigas if I wasn't doing this job. And I actually very much enjoy our friendship because of that. But we can both identify, like, we're from very different worlds.
Yeah.
I think that goes for many adults. It's hard to find friends outside of work. Not as easy as it used to be. And do you think that Estonian men actually keep together, stick together, support each other?
Sure. As do men from most countries, I would say. Not any
Jörgen,
more than
do you agree?
any other
yeah,
place.
yeah. Especially if they have like a common theme, like a tractor to
Yeah, sure.
to get
This
around.
mattress,
on.
I want in on it. Like, next time they call you about the mattress, you call me, all
I'll
right?
give them your number.
I'm going to be there in Setomaa.
Sounds good.
I don't agree with it because if you're a man who has the balls to do something differently, like writing a book, How to Love a Woman or so on, then you get this, and I was on Tinder dates. I have been on many, many Tinder dates, and I have heard so many rumors about me, and those are all spread by men who are just envious. So I don't think that they're too friendly about people like standing out.
Yeah.
That makes them envious. But if you're a little small motherfucker, then they will, like, yeah, man. Yeah.
That's a very good point. Thank you.
Dude, you just slam that big dick on the table, bro.
Language.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not sure if we have any kids watching our stream, but yeah, just in case. So again, very, very broad question, but do you think the gender roles are strong in Estonia? Everyday life, communication, work. We've already had one event where we talked to the women about how hard it is to succeed as a woman in Estonia. What are the stereotypes for women? But what do you think in general, both for male and female?
I think they're really strong in our society. But if there's one thing that I would recommend women, if you want to get like as paid as much as men do, just be more bold when you ask for your salary. Because I had a really good close girlfriend who just switched jobs, and I recommended her to ask like a price 40% more. And she would have gotten it, but she didn't ask, so that's why she got the secure number, and she got yes, right? So
That's a huge topic about the gender gap.
Yeah.
So.
There's actually, it's maybe your friend was lucky, but there's like pretty nice research out that that assertiveness in female leaders is considered a negative trait, while it's a positive trait in male leaders. So this kind of promotes incompetent men and puts a ceiling on competent women somewhat. So that's like real tragedy. And
but as
I hope
Dale
it's
Carnegie wrote in his book, this How to Get Friends and Influence People, right? There's always a good way for a woman to make a career as, how to say, if a man presents an idea, everybody's, if it's a good idea, they're like, fuck yeah, right? But if a woman does it, then they are threatened by the presence of that woman. But if that woman asks, for example, Louis is my boss, and I'm the woman, so I go to him and ask, like, Louis, would like your opinion about this question. And then you ask my question, answer my question, and then I say, yeah, really good idea. So that makes it like this and this possible, and so this is now our idea. And then you get the attention and the recognition for the idea.
And the fact that it is this way sometimes makes me really sad in the evenings.
But it still works.
It's also basic humankind. You can flip those gender roles in that situation and say that works for men and for women.
Yeah.
You want to know about gender roles in Estonia?
Yes, do you think they're stronger than in
I paid
other
attention
European
last time I went
countries?
back to the US also, because I wanted to know if I felt it as strongly there. And I felt totally at ease while I was back in New York. And also when I went to Italy, I felt like at ease in my skin with
New
who
York's
I am.
not US.
Whatever, the US is a big place. No, I actually don't think of it that way. But yeah, okay. But then I came back here, and it was all back into boxes. Meesterwerk, naisterwerk, men's stuff
More than in
and
Italy,
women's
you would
stuff.
say.
Maybe I'm just more familiar with the roles in Italy. For the Italian man, I think being lazy is like something to be proud of. And it's something I really identified with, Like, isn't life great? You can just spend all day hanging out in the square, talking to your friends. Like, that's what life's about. And then you come back here, and you're freaking exhausted. And they're like, go bring more firewood in now. It's like, but that's not what life is about. Life is about relaxing with my friends and, eating a peach or like having espresso coffee. That's what life's about. It's like, no, it's not anymore what life's about. Life is about you getting off your lazy ass right now and going out and bringing in a whole bunch of firewood so you don't freeze to death. So,
yeah, but that's because Italians enjoy more like this communication. If you're a good communicator, then you're the boss, right?
Yeah.
But in Estonia, you have to do actually something to get the boss.
And in Italy, you have the mom to bring you the pizza?
Well, yeah, she's at home making the food while you're out in the square,
Maybe your next book should be about how to have more il dolce far niente in Estonia. La dolce vita.
I'm doing it anyway. I don't care what they think.
Okay. That's good to hear. Stay true to yourself. So.
Yeah, at some point you reach an internal threshold as a foreigner where it's just like I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I've had it in other countries.
You guys can do that, but I'm not doing it anymore. So see ya, go ahead, have fun doing that.
I think that's a part of living in another country. I agree.
Yeah.
At some point, you're like, that's your rules. I'm not sticking to them.
Yeah.
So sometimes happens. So question to more to both of you. In comparison to your home country, does the society here expect something else from you as a man in Estonia? So Estonia versus your home country, how is it different? The
Estonia expects 0 from me, and I love it.
Okay.
Like, that's how I'm a 39-year-old man-child. It's the best. I have no family, no social pressure telling me what to do. Maybe to my detriment. I've come to understand eventually to my detriment, but I have felt 0 social pressure to grow up or do anything like that, and it's great.
Even if you're Skyping with your mom?
Mum? Sorry, who's that?
Family.
Oh, right, family? Who are those people? Sorry.
I wanted to remind you that you're only going to be 39 for a few more weeks.
That's right, yeah. Soon I'm 40. Wow,
that's me too. We're only a few weeks apart from each other, but I'm older than you.
Okay, all right. Big brother.
Yeah, Oh yeah, I felt it because I was married to an Estonian for like 13 years. I felt it, but I don't. The thing is, I don't know if that's Estonia or if that's like Karksi girls. Like maybe the Tallinn girls are different from the Karksi girls. But the Karksi girls, yeah, I felt that. Yeah.
I think most girls in Estonia are from very weird places outside of Tallinn, including me.
Karksi tüdrukud on sellised.
Yeah. So most of us are from the countryside, so...
Yeah, well, there were just sort of things like, well, how come you don't know? You're a man. But I've never had a smoked sauna before. I wouldn't know. I thought that big pot in the smoked sauna was for making soup. Like, wow, they have this big black cauldron for making soup in the smoked sauna. Like, how great is that? But it's actually for bathing. You're like...
Take the water.
But the little Estonian, like naked Estonian kids just come in and they just know everything. Oh, here's my bucket. I'm going to go chill in my little bucket in the corner. Anyway, but I'm saying, yeah, or, you know, how come you don't know how the well works, or how come you don't know about tractors? And it's,
Dude,
you
you're
know,
getting grief for not knowing this stuff?
yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, there was constant pressure about that stuff, and
Oh,
I
boy.
just didn't know anything. I felt really sort of useless because I wasn't MacGyver. Like, I used to have this joke, forgive me, I had this joke, you know, kusu hameron, you know, because like when you're in the army, you know, you have to wake up and be ready to go in 2 minutes. And it was like the same thing, like, where's your hammer? Like, it's here, don't worry, I got it right here. I've got the hammer
whole
here.
toolbox.
What needs to be nailed? Where's your screwdriver? I got the screwdriver right here, don't worry. What needs to be screwed in? I'm right here, I'm ready to go. Like even 3 o'clock in the morning, it's like, where's your hammer? I'm ready to go.
That does sound like my dad, so yeah.
No, but they're used to that. And then you get like this lazy, like slothful Italian type of guy who's like, oh, I just went to the supermarket again because we ran out of olives. I have
Got
no
it.
freaking clue where my hammer is. I think it's like in the garage buried under shit. You're like, I have
So
no
it hasn't
idea.
changed in 13 years you've been here.
No, I was not able to be re-educated. No.
Okay. So a
It,
question.
it became stronger, like pushing against that. Like,
Okay.
I'll
You're
put the
a rebel.
hammer wherever I want.
Got it. So a question more to Margus and Jörgen. What upbringing or expectations do Estonian men have while growing up? So personally, because obviously we're the generation who had Soviet parents, so we had also very different expectations and roles than your children have. So
I know that when I was from 10th grade until 12th grade, my parents always told me that you need to be an engineer like your older brother, and I went to study philosophy and theology. So yeah, I like arts, I like philosophy, I like all kinds of stuff that Soviet time people just despise, pretty much. But I'm a rebel also, so I went still.
yeah, Jörgen.
I think as a kid it was still like the regular like boys don't cry and that stuff, and you had to be like tough and that. So like growing up through my teenage years, I had pretty normal parents, so they kind of gave me leeway about what I wanted to do and all that. I did like I get the expectation to be kind of know where your hammer is at, like, but I was like a city boy and I wasn't very good at fixing things, so I guess my dad just kind of gave up at one point trying to pass it on, and it's still to this day it's like I get somebody who knows how to do that stuff, so like my wife, for example. So yeah, I don't know where the hammer is, but she knows. Probably.
I actually know where my hammer is right now.
Is the hammer a metaphor? Have I missed something?
And going from there, also, do you think the role of a father is different in Estonia nowadays compared to other countries? Maybe also looking at Finland, our closest neighbor, and how are Estonian men as fathers?
My father is a really cool guy. When I started to doing these comedy shows, What Do Men Really Want, and writing a book, then he publicly made a comment on my YouTube, kind of like a promotion video, that you little sucker, when are you gonna grow up, man? Nice. So I really love him. Yeah, we got along just fine.
I sense the irony in your voice.
You
Like
have an Estonian father, so I
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I get along with him fine, but I think like that's also something about men, like it's like the average man doesn't get along like too well with their father. I mean, I kind of have somewhat overcome the relationship, so I like to make him feel a bit uncomfortable. Like I try to hug him, and he kind of freezes up like that when I do that. He's not used to that.
Have you ever said "I love you" to him?
Yeah. Also makes him super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I have to admit being that pity.
So it's
that,
kind of
that
like
enjoying making him feel uncomfortable with that a little bit.
So you say "I love you" and he says, "All right, where's the hammer?"
Yeah, something like that. Something
Yeah,
like that. But we get along just fine. But I think I think it's getting better now. Is now at least I try to think about also giving my kids like emotional skills. Like he probably at that time didn't know what emotion that there was a thing, that it was a thing, emotional skills, you know.
So you say it to your kids, all three of you who have some. You show affection. You tell them.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
I love
Yeah, so
you.
it has
I love you,
changed.
son. he says.
Actually, it used to be weird because I would drop them off at preschool and I would give my daughter a kiss on the cheek, and the other little kids would sort of run and watch it. They were mystified every morning.
Kissing?
He's gonna do it again, and I'd be like, "Mwah, I love you," you know, and they'd you know, it was hysterical.
I think they're more confused what a father is. They probably haven't seen one for a while.
Yeah.
There's that,
just
yeah.
to save the maybe the face of our father's generation. So I grew up with a very, very affectionate 100% Estonian, but acting more like an Italian father who also showed his emotions every day.
That's why you're so normal.
I hope so. I'm not that sure, but it did help me a lot. And I think the daughter-father relationship is something different maybe as well. But I'm very glad I had like a very affectionate, very open father. And,
Yeah, because as a woman, you need security, and
Yes.
that gave you that.
confidence,
I
definitely.
think
so.
the stereotypical Estonian dad actually is very, he's kind of aloof, but he knows how to throw his strength around. Like if the kid's getting out of line, he could just say one word and it just stops. Like
most of the dads are.
like
so
he just says like Donis, and that's it. It just
Yeah.
stops. And because they're scared of something. And actually an Estonian friend told me that I can never actually show him what he has to be afraid of. He just has to imagine what might happen if I actually lose my temper. It's all in the tone of voice, like Donis, and that's it.
But I
My
think
father
also
never
that's-
did anything like that. My father was like,
Haven't we got, what we've got here on the table is 3 reasonable fathers, all right? Like, I don't know how good you go, but like reasonable gentlemen who are doing a reasonable job. But it does seem to be my observation that there is a lot of, with the divorce rate, there's a lot of children out there who don't have a strong father figure in their
Agreed.
life. And I was at a school like 2 months ago giving a talk down south of Tartu, and I was like, why, I'm happy to come and talk. Why do you want me there? And she's like, well, we've only got female teachers. There's of a class of 20 boys, there's about 3 fathers between them. And they just don't have any male influence in their life. Like,
well, if you're making that many children, then you don't have that much time to see them all.
Right, it's tough, you've got a busy schedule.
3 fathers
like,
and
there's
20
not,
kids, yeah.
that's another factor that, okay, we've all got good fathers here, but maybe this is influencing.
Yeah, I've
most
heard
definitely.
that several times here. Like, someone else will ask, who's her father? And then they'll say they don't have one. And I don't say anything, but I think, but that's impossible. Only, only Jesus, and we're not even sure about that. Like, he's out there somewhere. But yeah, I think like the Estonian motorcycle gang just went through town and then kept going after that or something. I don't know
Might
what
be.
happened. Yeah.
Sure. That is another quite a difficult topic about.
Well, you don't know what to
so-
do in this situation. It's, I don't know. So.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit more positive here. What's really good? What is the best thing about Estonian men?
If we don't like something, we're gonna say like, I don't fucking like it.
So you're
Because
not gonna-
if you go to, for example, to the States and a person wants you to fuck off, they will say, thank you so much and get the fuck out of my property or I'll shoot you. Ha!
Yeah.
But Estonian people just, I don't like you, man. Don't talk to me. Like, and Estonian people are so sincere, and the men also. If they like you, they're gonna, like, come here, bro, man.
But at the same time, Margus, like don't you think that's one of the things that's kind of, in some sense, we get more positive, killing Estonian men, that
We'll get to
they
that
might
as
work like at a dead-end job for like 20 years and not make a face about it and then kind of explode into alcoholism or something?
Yeah, I don't recommend them to be at a job.
Yeah, what I
for
just
20
mean is
years.
that
not
it's a
recommended,
tendency,
okay.
like you're saying people are sincere, but Estonian men, or
Yeah,
men
they
in general,
repress
it's
their
hard.
feelings
they
all the
repress
time. Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot,
That
actually.
sucks, of
That's
course.
that's not being not being sincere.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
as a woman, I
get it.
agree. At least an Estonian man never gives you, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually not, so you never get that.
What do you get from an Estonian man then? What are you gonna get?
They mostly say what's bothering them.
Yeah, if
so-
you ask them how you doing, well, man, like they don't
Yeah,
just ask you back
so-
how you doing. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
If his grandmother died, you'll know about it at least. So.
But often you get like normal. How do you
Yeah,
do normal?
normal.
And that's the thing also. So it's kind of
Which is
it's
the
a mixed
Estonian
bag.
version of I'm fine.
Normalne.
But
Väga normalne.
I have a good story, but
Go on.
I'll try to keep it very short.
Short.
So
Sweet.
my car broke down outside Lounakeskus. It made the most horrible sound. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened to it still. And so I'm just stopped there, where you're pulling out. So there's all these cars behind me. And I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. And then I look out the window, and there's this Estonian guy, and he's holding a newborn, baby in his arm. It was a very young baby. And then he doesn't even say hello to me. He just says, "Try it again." And I'm like, "What?" "What?" He said, "Try it again." And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "Oh, that's bad." And then he says, "Hang on 1 second." Then this other Estonian guy shows up out of nowhere, and he directs, and we push the car into a parking space together. I take all my stuff quickly out of the car,
Okay, so
and I turn around to say thank you, and they were both gone. They were both gone. My work here is done. And then they just sort of flew off.
Yeah. They
Into
don't
the
need the
sky.
praise, right?
No.
That's what I love about Estonian men also, that they're really powerful, and their work ethic is perfect. Because there was a Estonian philosopher, Gunnar Arma, who told that while being in a jail camp in Siberia, there was not one Estonian unemployed. They were all we are very productive and cool.
Yeah. But I do think Estonian men need praise, and they need a lot more praise, actually. They might not accept it always, but
They didn't even stick around. Their work was done. They saved me, and I was just.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
He had a baby. I wouldn't have cared if I had the new. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. That's a very positive story. So do you also feel you get enough help, not just physically or helping with the car, but also emotionally from your male friends, as few as you
I
might
think it's
have?
all about energy. If you, let's say, meet another alpha male, then he gives you this positive masculine energy.
What is an alpha male?
He's kind of alpha male is a man who does the shit he wants to. He's not at a job 20 years which he don't like. And he has just his self-consciousness. And this is just we're going to talk a little, maybe 5 minutes in a smoking room. And I always go out from there and I'm like, fuck yeah. And everything's fine again. So, yeah. I don't need a pep talk. I just need you're cool, I'm cool, we both know it, fuck yeah.
Fuck you.
Sorry, what was the question? I was taken aback by that.
Speechless from
Sorry.
that performance. I'm blown away.
Support from male friends.
So good.
Yeah.
Support from male friends.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
In general, you
this
can
is
talk,
this is personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
I mean,
Yeah.
in
What's the
general,
question
there's
again?
also a stereotype. A woman knows everything about her best friend's relationship and so on. How often, how many, and so on. And a man gets divorced, and 6 months later he's having beers with his best friend, and oh yeah, by the way, I'm kind of divorced for 6 months already.
And also the tractor needs fixing. That's the unfortunate thing that happens, I think.
So, do you talk about stuff
Oh,
with your male
yeah,
friends?
yeah.
Emotional, how you're really doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I think that's again
Sure, we talk a lot.
we talk a lot, but we probably are maybe above average in that regard. We're well off.
Yeah, but men don't cry on each other's shoulder.
Nah.
We're suck it up, man. It's gonna be fine.
Okay.
There are many fishes in the sea.
Not in
I've had-
Estonia, not with 1.3 million people, there's not.
Hey, we're surrounded
We'll
by
get to that
goddesses.
one.
They don't change much. I would say, I've asked older Estonian guys for advice, and it's pretty much the same you would get from anybody. I mean, I imagine that they would grow, intelligence or wisdom or something. But it's the same, don't even bother with women and their moods or some crap like that. They'll just say that. I don't even listen to it anymore. Stuff like that. So, the older generation is, sort of like that.
Resigned.
Well, I wouldn't say resigned. He's just I'm happy to be alive, and I'm gonna go fix, really my tractor or whatever. and I just don't involve myself with that.
Maybe that's
nonsense.
the Estonian version of the Italian thing. You're like, hey, we have a good life, or we have the olive and the wine and the square.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't give a shit. He just wants to make the tractor.
Yeah.
He doesn't care
Yeah.
about whatever's going on. Like, he's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's his zen.
That's how it's therapeutic, you know, that stuff. Põllumajandus. Agriculture.
Yeah. Very sad question now as well. Why do you think Estonian men die so much earlier than Estonian women, statistically?
Well, I think one of the reasons is attaching mattresses to a speedboat. like literally, it's one of the reasons is high death rate due to stupid shit when done in like early
but
adulthood.
that's so much cooler to die than 10 years on average, like before women, because we do this crazy stuff and our life is fulfilled with different experiences. Hey, if I would like to live like really, really long, I wouldn't do half the cool stuff I do nowadays. I don't care, because if you have even 1 year of really, really cool life, then you're fucking happy and
and
you
the
can
question, Exhibit A.
Very happy.
Yeah.
die.
Maybe.
Happiest guy on the stage.
Yeah.
I wish I was that happy.
Yeah. But and the other reason probably is like we do have alcoholism a lot. Like,
Can
and
be.
that's kind of
Right, I'm the only one drinking on this stage. All right, good.
You don't know what's
and
in
you're
these
not
glasses.
Estonian even.
Yeah.
Well, that is another huge topic about alcoholism in general, Estonia and Nordic countries and so on. But I have to say it has been getting a lot better. I just read a good book by Tiit Made, Nõukaaeg, Soviet time. It was simply horrendous. The alcoholism rates, so to say, the rates of babies being born with deficiencies due to alcohol and so on. So I still think our generation is already doing a lot better, and hopefully the next one as well.
I mean, no doubt some of these dudes are dumb as dog shit, right? And they're really doing dumb stuff, alcoholism, wrapping themselves around trees, all sorts of stuff. But I think the society is progressing so quickly. I really think we need some up-to-date statistics. And it's very hard to say because this is what takes another 40 years for a 20-year-old guy or 30-year-old guy to get to the stage where he may or may not pass away. Like, I really think this current generation is changing so fast that they may not encounter the same rates as we're currently seeing right now.
Sure. What about, for example, going to the doctor? Most of the Soviet men avoided like plague. They'd rather die than go to an actual doctor. Checkups.
I don't know. I can't talk anything about alcoholism because I have been sober for 35 years.
Give a good applause to this man.
I don't know
Or you have or you haven't been.
I have never been drunk. I just don't need it. I like the clear consciousness more. I don't need the weed or narcotics or alcohol that much, but it doesn't bother me when other people do this stuff, right? It's just my way.
Coffee's your alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think it's
do you
getting
take your
better.
health more seriously than your father's generation?
Yeah,
for example?
definitely,
Yeah.
and his father before that, and so forth and so on. I think, so it's like seeking help in general. It's like in Soviet times, it was like man had to be like very self-sufficient. Nowadays, I think it's okay. It's like people acknowledge that you gotta get checked out now and then.
Yeah, but why do people use alcohol that much that it makes them numb? It's because they're kind of like humiliated, yeah, and that's why they like to
Humiliated? How are they humiliated?
No. If I'm talking about these guys that are alcoholics, right? So if a man drinks a beer, it's all fine, but most of them are in deep depression and they feel, for example, humiliated by their wife.
Yeah, I think like the mental health still has ways to come along. I think like in physical health, it's getting a little bit better, but it's still like has this stigma attached to it, and they don't like whatever they feel. They don't have the resources to cope with that. They can't talk to their like friend will say like, what are you blabbering on about with your wife? Like, let's go fix a tractor, but that doesn't do the trick. And then they should actually like see a psychiatrist, a psychologist, seek actual help. Like alcohol is a really lousy antidepressant. The prescription funds are far more efficient. So
and it's generally difficult. We live in a refrigerator for 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
That's going to be harder to get over the mental illness than if we live in a sunny place.
Sure. That's statistics as well. What about the role models you had when growing up both in Estonia and in different countries? Who were your male role models? You mentioned MacGyver already.
I didn't say it was my role model.
Mine were all foreigner. I had this Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and these black ninjas. Yeah, and that made me. Maybe you too, Jiu-Jitsu master? No?
Not really. No.
Okay.
A-team maybe.
A-team, yeah.
Ah, yeah, but there was actually my uncle who was really into booze, business, women, and smoking. And he was the coolest guy I knew, so he was my role model.
What's happened to him?
He's dead.
Oh, I mean, sorry.
No, it's all good. He was a really cool guy living with a nagu ereda leegiga with a bright star.
Flame.
Yeah.
Only the good die young.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any other cool role models, or maybe what role models do your kids have nowadays?
I don't know. Mine are too young to like.
I think the Beatles were my role models because I went into I found my parents' vinyl when I was like 6 years old, and there was like men dressed up like walrus and stuff, and I thought, this is great. I mean, and I had this little crappy record player. I'd have to get up, turn over the vinyl, listen to side B, turn it over again, listen to side A. I did that all night long. I mean, I just thought they were the greatest role models. I wanted to be like, Ringo and Paul, George, John. And so that definitely influenced me, changed me. And also just freaking American comedy movies, like Chevy Chase and Bill Murray influenced me a lot as a man, which is ridiculous. I mean, like comedians were influencing somebody. Can you imagine?
What about Nick Carter? Okay,
not good. It's not good.
Nick Carter is the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, I'm asking.
Pretty boy.
Was he an influencer also?
He influenced.
What? No, I was just asking
He was joking.
asking it
That's
about your
after my
hair.
time.
Yeah.
I don't. We used to sell Backstreet Boys CDs to little girls. They would come into the shop and they'd scream, and like there'd be tears running, and their lousy mascara would be like dripping down their face. Oh my god! So yeah, I remember that era, but very very briefly. I mean, it was just funny. Yeah, we made a lot of money off of that.
Luis, any role models you had?
When
Who
I
did
was
you want
growing
to
up?
be? Yes, when you grew up.
Not a lot. No, not.
What about what's his name? Paul Hogan.
Crocodile Dundee. I know. All day I'm going through the cutlery. Knife, very good knife. That's all we do in Australia all day long.
No, there was another Australian. What was his name? Michael Hutchins from In Excess.
Sure. In the end. Very talented, but in the end.
Isn't there somebody else?
Got married to Kylie Minogue. Did you know that? Yeah, true. I stumped him on that one. No good role models. Most of my, when I was 17, I went through the grunge phase. So, my role model was Kurt Cobain, and we know how that one turned out. So it wasn't...
The 27 Club.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the 27 Club.
How'd that make you feel as a man?
Well, I wasn't going for the shotgun, if that's the answer. No, I wasn't tempted to... No, okay. To be serious,
I'm going to make people happy.
I don't think I ever had a strong role model in any sort of pop culture until I discovered the records of Henry Rollins.
Oh.
And his writing, his spoken word, and hearing a man talk about life and talk about it emotionally and talk about the world until back when there was no streaming or even internet. This guy, Henry Rollins, he's an old punk singer, and then he now travels the world doing these spoken word shows, and I'd never heard a strong man speaking about manliness before, and that can be cultured and that can be gentle but still strong and powerful, and all this stuff Marius would absolutely be saying, and not usually me. And we listen to these CDs like they were scripture, and we would all just, oh my God, that's a great line, and we would know them. And now there's more access to that and different role models. Now the internet's
the whole
around,
YouTube, basically.
Right, is that sort of thing. So
sure. We'll have a few more questions before the break, so let's go into more of the dating culture in Estonia. How have you coped so far? So first of all,
how you going, champ? How's it going, boss?
So first of all, a question to the non-Estonians. What is the difference in dating culture in Estonia and your home country? Any culture shocks you would like to share? Funny stories.
Are you asking them, right?
I'm asking the.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, I don't know what's the nice word
Wait,
to say.
dating?
Expats.
I don't go, but
non-Estonians.
I don't date people.
How's that
How do you
Tinder
meet
Viljandi
Estonian
scene
girls?
going for you?
Tinder.
It's real hot right now.
Well, okay.
Any culture shocks? Any
shocks.
cool
I mean,
stories?
you've been there. I've been here for 10 years, so it's like hard to have a culture shock after 10 years.
Yeah,
you
but
kind of
you
know what
in the beginning to remember.
is expected.
You came here.
There's something that's expected.
I don't know.
Okay. I think I actually got a question from an American when I was giving a talk in Tartu. He was a university student, and he had hooked up with a young Estonian lady and mistakenly thought that she was in love with him because they had been intimate together. And I tried to explain to him that this is not true. She just wanted your sexy American body. She didn't care like about this thing at all. And he was like really hard,
did you know?
crestfallen and broke,
Devastated.
and like, what you mean she just like used me? They said yes. Welcome to Estonia. And so in that aspect, yeah, I mean, he was like, me and Margit are gonna sail to the fucking moon, but I was like, no, it's not gonna. She's gone. She's already on to like the third guy after you.
How did you know, though?
So I just have heard these kinds of things happen to other guys. It's like hit and run. So I mean that's cool. I just also okay. There's certain things I've written about this. There's certain things that are important and certain things that are not important. Like if someone's married, it's not important actually. But if you park your car facing the wrong direction on the street, someone might come out and yell at you about that. So like that's important rule that you broke. But these things like who's married to whom or what, that stuff is very vague in Estonia. Like it doesn't actually count so much. Like the actual relationship between those two people counts much more whether there's like some piece of paper sitting in, or I guess online now. Yeah, I've just, I meet Estonian couples who are still married to someone else, but they're with someone else openly. Or I've also seen it where like everyone knows that that guy is cheating with that girl, but the wife's okay with that sort of. Or it's just more fluidity and tolerance in terms of that.
Do the Estonians agree with that? Is it that kind of?
Isn't that kind of going everywhere in the Western world in that direction?
I don't know.
I would honestly say most of my
Yeah.
friends are in
I've been here
very
for too long.
happy, very secure relationships from what I've heard, and there's most of my good friends, Estonian
This guy's
mixed
been living in the
couples.
countryside for too long. This is the problem.
No.
Nothing to do but drinking. Yeah, that's it.
So I'm actually really
Kartsi
positive about the
alone.
relationships nowadays. I'm
That's
sorry.
Viljandi, it's not Kartsi. Okay.
What was the original question?
What's the difference in dating culture and if they've had any culture shocks in Estonia? And we went from there to that everyone's dating everyone and nobody's taking things seriously, which I don't personally agree with.
I didn't
But
say they
there-
were dating
Well-
everyone. I just said that this was like this sort of young, idealistic American kid. I was trying to impress upon him how some relationships might be more casual than he thinks they are. I wasn't saying. I was just explaining that to him, and that's honestly a lesson for like any kid who comes from like Iowa or some sort of
Karksinu.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about from like rather conservative places in the United States coming to Northern Europe. It can be a culture shock for
Okay.
them.
So you're talking more about conservative versus
Yeah.
open and casual
Yes.
relationships. Okay.
Yeah.
But there was a time when I was a serial dater. Yeah, I was on Tinder for 5 years, and you know what was the best pickup line ever with women? Put down the microphone. So I make a little small talk, right, for maybe 10 minutes, and then I ask him, her, sorry. I'm an Estonian, it happens. But anyways, then I ask her that, have you ever heard of Tantra date? And have you ever heard of Tantra date?
I've heard.
Have you been to one?
No.
You're gonna be. Anyways, put down the microphone and give me your hands. then I ask her to give me her hands, and then I'm kind of like,
Wait, you
close
did
your
this
eyes,
on Tinder?
close your eyes, and just let's just switch energies for 40 seconds. And now, how do you feel? And it always, yeah, I know, weird, but it was a thing that not one other Estonian man did on first date, and it just blew their mind, and I was really happy for 5 years.
Is that it? You got to have a good trick, and that's what, you know.
Yeah, because
Should I bring the
it's
cards or
already
something?
no,
Like-
it's already after 10 minutes. You get the physical touch, and you have this barrier like phew, off
you
your
don't
way,
think
and
that
then
the
you're
fact that you're a famous singer might help in that?
Yeah, do you think?
no.
What was
no.
your peacock move, bro? Like, what was the peacock that you would introduce into the...
Well, what's that?
Okay.
I guess this
Yeah, what's
already
that?
goes really well to the next question. How to win an Estonian girl's heart?
Be a famous singer.
Or a comedian?
This way you win it somewhere else.
I think the most common mistake that men do on dates is gonna like, so I have this firm and I do this and I do this. What do you do? Oh, nice. But I have this, I have this. So if you just lay back, you're like a clean sheet. I really like you. I like your appearance. Can you paint a picture of who you are? And then just like listen to this girl and just like feel empathy and just like have a really good talk and be quiet, like 10%, no, 90% of the
love
time, and
doctor
let
over
her
here.
talk. That's the way to girls' heart.
All right, the doctor of love is taking your phone calls right now. Okay.
I kind of agree with that, but I also feel that even to have a conversation with an Estonian man on a date,
Yeah.
I need to be the one asking 90% of the questions.
So you
That's
think they're a little
even-
bit more introverted, Estonian men? You have to.
Yeah. So you have
How is
to,
it? You guys are just sitting there across the table staring at one another? Is
I
that how
don't
it
know.
works, or what? Yeah.
I have very
Yeah.
little experience.
But it's really cool because if you're smooth, then you're better than 99% of the other guys, right? So it's really easy.
I will give you that. Okay, in Australia, not like, oh, everything's great here in the promised land of milk and honey. But in Australia, every dude is tall, handsome, charming,
Surfer.
you know, going to sport, right? Like knows how to talk and at
So
least
that's why you
keep a
left.
conversation going.
That's why.
Yeah. You losers can't keep a conversation going. Jesus, you heard it from the man himself. I'm sitting here radiating this good energy. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm intimidated in an Australian pub. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I think I just
Justin.
screwed up my microphone. Wait, what do you want to know about?
How to win an Estonian girl's heart.
Okay, I don't know about heart. But there's a weird sort of thing that if I am like completely crazy, which can happen, then it sort of creates this kind of cyclone that will suck someone in.
Who's crazy enough?
I think that they're
just as crazy
I
as
think
you.
they're just not used to it. They're sort of like, what could happen if I venture close to this sort of catastrophe? And yeah,
That's your game plan?
It's not a plan. It just happens like naturally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one more really big thing that you must have to win a woman's heart, and that's really simple. You have to just love yourself as a man, be happy. Then you don't have to be like really good with words. Then you don't have to be good in bed. Just love yourself, and others
Who
love you
told
too.
you that? That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't agree
I think
with
it
that.
goes for both genders, definitely.
Wait,
Love yourself.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. keep talking.
Jorgen, do you have anything to say?
You
Yeah,
talk now.
just
Yeah.
Please
be
say
normal.
something.
Like it depends. Like obviously, if like short-term interest, then you have to be interesting,
Yeah.
like to the person and what's interesting to them. That's obviously dependent on how they are or what are they interested in. And in regards to listening to the other person, like when you're a normal person, like obviously like nobody. It's like most of the time, if you let them speak and also show some activeness, then you're way more likely on target as opposed to all the time speaking yourself or all the time kind of listening only. It's just basic math.
Just be a reasonable individual?
Yes.
Is that it? This is not New York. We don't need a high fancy job or the pay or something like
Yeah.
that. Just be normal.
That's very. It's a tall order.
I can see the headlines of tomorrow's Esel Õhtuleht.
Right. Just be normal.
Just be normal.
Yeah, the key to a woman's heart. Just be normal. Thank you. Um, do you think a foreign man, non-Estonian, has better chances of winning an Estonian girl's heart? Do you
I
agree,
think those
disagree?
days are over.
It's again like, what is the definition of winning a
Yeah,
heart?
exactly. This is where, like, you're given these weird stereotype questions. No wonder we can't answer them.
Well,
Like, what? Like,
That's when she
Just again
says.
to put it statistically, I think we all agree that there are many, many more Estonian women together with foreign non-Estonian
Maybe,
partners than
but-
vice versa.
so, but it's where you're going with this question is the undercurrent of all of this is Estonian women are beautiful, Estonian men look like dog shit, so that's why it happens, right? Which I put it to you is not the case. If you take Sweden, my unverifiable statistic is that the men and women are equally as beautiful as one another there, right? And you still have more, I think, still more foreign men coming to a place like Sweden, even when there's not such a disparity in looks or something like that. I think it's just men are stupid enough to travel the world and like pack all their shit up and go somewhere else. Like I think men are more likely to do something dumb like that, and that there's something in our nature.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
called-
well
it's,
I really want to break these stereotypes. That's why I'm asking. Like, we don't want to prove maybe all of them that every Estonian woman is as beautiful as they say, and everyone's a supermodel. But
Yeah, but there's a
really have a discussion here.
there's a really moral dilemma for a woman here. If she wants to have a one-night stand, she chooses somebody from other country. Because then nobody will know, right? But if she wants something more permanent, then maybe a local guy.
maybe.
Yeah.
When you're done with the phone, guys.
I wish it were that easy.
It's actually true, I think.
Yeah, but my problem was after I never even had that one night stands because like, oh yeah, foreign guy, but still around the next day, so it really defeats the purpose of it.
Living in Kalamaja Dam, or wherever
Doing
you're
the
living.
walk
so,
of shame. Oh,
yeah.
again. All right. We're tracking my best time. All right.
Yeah, it's a small country, so.
Which is the problem. Small dating pool, I think, is a big problem in this
Yeah.
place. Like, there's not that many different. You start breaking it down by demographic, by place where you live. The pool is not that large.
No, just switch cities in every once in a while.
Oh, then it's great. Okay.
It works.
Actually,
Go to Turi. That's where I'm from.
My ex-wife is raising chickens in the countryside in Obinitsa. And she says they have to bring in a new rooster every now and then, or else the chickens start to get sick after every few generations because they're all too similar. And that's exactly what's been going on in Estonia.
Awesome.
They have to
Thank
bring
you.
in, and then you get
Perfect metaphor.
new kinds of chicks. So
I think
that's how it
we've had
works.
a complicated enough history for that, so we can see it's very, very diverse. So I guess we'll have a small break on that note, so you can think about it and maybe interact with the panelists in between around 15 minutes. So the bar is open, and let's meet again at 8:35.
All right.
I can take this.
Oof, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah. So welcome back. Is this thing on?
It's on, I think. Ours is not on.
We're on, baby.
I don't know.
There's a guy with a camera up behind us, just so you
No.
Ding, ding, is this
It
thing
seems
on?
maybe. Let me see. Well, yes.
You have a louder voice.
Yeah.
So welcome back. And the second half of tonight we'll take a lot of questions, hopefully from you, from the audience. We have both Nella and Lena running around with the microphones, so just raise your hand if you have a question to our panelists, and I'll take some questions from Slido, starting with the most popular or upvoted ones. So, but please don't be disappointed if your question does not get asked. We have around 50 minutes, 40 to 50. So let's get started. And as a special offer for you, Margus Vaher has some of his books that you can buy afterwards from the bar. And if you want a dedication from him, then he'll be there to sign them as well. So a special offer for tonight.
Where's your books, bro? Why don't you flog them?
They sold them all.
You can find his in the bookstore as well, I'm sure. So yeah, just be active. If you're too shy to ask a question, then use Slido. I can't see really well, but let's take the first question from the audience. Yeah, introduce yourself very quickly. You can also say where you're from, and then keep it short and sweet,
Maybe
hopefully.
stand up.
Yeah, we can't see you from here very well.
Yep.
My name is Manan. I've been living in Estonia for about 5 years now. I'm originally from Pakistan and I'm an engineer. My question is specifically to Jürgen and to other people as well, a bit on a serious topic.
Are you really an engineer?
Do you think that mental health issues are a problem specifically for men in Estonia? And also, do you think that there are structures and resources for men to overcome that problem or to deal with it? In your experience, have you seen or dealt with men? Because I'm specifically asking Jürgen because he deals with MMA and jiu-jitsu, and I think that is a very good medium for bonding between men. So I would really like input from all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, Jürgen has also been a psychotherapist. And
I've
psychology counselor.
Psychotherapist?
Psychotherapist.
Psychotherapist. It's like I like to make the parallel that...
Is that where you have to like scream a lot?
No. Like,
you deal only with
do you know what a physiotherapist is? Do you have an idea what a physio is?
Look at this guy. No, he doesn't.
No?
I haven't been there yet.
I haven't been there. Okay, anyway. So, because the way I usually tell it is kind of, if you consider like if you have... sorry, I'm going to postpone your question for a minute.
I'm kind of scared to go into a room with a psychologist.
You talk, answer, don't listen to this.
People kind of think that, okay, what's the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist, right? Or a psychotherapist, and I use... Yeah. So it's like orthopedician is a doctor, and physiotherapist is kind of a... assisting service, and like most healthy people would benefit from going to a physiotherapist now and then before they need to see an orthopedician. So just in the same way, most healthy people would also benefit probably from seeing a psychologist before they need to see a psychiatrist. So psychiatrist is like doctor. They prescribe drugs and they kind of orchestrate the treatment, right? Okay. Psychotherapist is doing the talk therapy, like the talking part. And there are different schools for that. So was for Justin's question. Now, coming to your thing is that obviously I'm like hugely biased in favor of combat sports as a vehicle for self-development and mental health. So you have to take my word with a grain of salt. But yeah, I think that's like an excellent outlet, like a healthy competitive environment also, which kind of brings people together and one of my students, a woman, by the way, she says like it's aggressive cuddling, So, so it's like a good physical outlet, and I think the very primal kind of human versus human environment, yet in a safe and learning way, is a really healthy thing. But coming to that, coming back to your question, first of all, like there's mental health services in Estonia are available, and there is no discrimination between men and women how available they are, right? But they have tried to cater to men and kind of raise awareness about because of obviously the average life expectancy of men being shorter. So there have been initiatives to cater towards that. But yeah, it's I think what's holding men back in that area is more kind of the culture and the stigma and the attitudes about seeking help and considering seeking help in regards to mental health as a normal thing. So that's what's holding men back, I think, not the availability of services.
Yeah, and I must mention that I have had two very close friends who committed suicides. They were both really talented musicians, and I never saw it coming because they were so talented, they were so ambitious, they were so cool, and I never saw the depression behind it. So, like...
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else from the audience? Sure.
Hello, my name is Peter. Do I have to stand up or it's okay to be sitting?
We can hear you.
All right,
Up
cool.
to you.
So my name is Peter. I've been living in Estonia for 4 years. Estonian wife. The reason, developer as a job. And my question is actually, because we got a little bit off topic, I think, at some point. So I was actually thinking, like, maybe every one of you could explain, like, actually, how do you survive in Estonian winter? Like, and that was the question.
That's
right?
very on the topic, yes.
Exactly.
You have to
'Cause
find a
whenever-
really, you have to find a really hot wife.
I think I checked this box already.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
But yeah, like I would like to hear about it, and I think maybe one of the reasons why Estonian people in general are depressed, probably the lack of sun. Like this could be one of the things.
Sure.
Okay,
And
so
yeah, like
survival
how do you
tips.
tackle the problems? Like
Yeah.
how do you tackle the long winter, the lack of sun, and etc.
You take a really hot wife or a girlfriend, you buy a car, and you have a really cool condo. So that's the way I survive.
Cool.
Is that in your book? Can I learn more of these nuggets of wisdom for 15 euros?
I'll tell you, I don't know what the hell happened with me, but one day I woke up and I really wanted to go cross-country skiing. And I got the skis and everything. And I was out there, and there's like, I really sucked. There were all these old men blowing by me down by the lake on the trail, like, whoo, and I'm... But it was freaking. I mean, I felt awesome after that. I kept doing it. So, I mean, if you need to work out some of the stress or whatever from the weather, then you can indulge in winter sports, for example. That's what I definitely do that.
Very good.
I feel like great after that. I recommend it. And Estonian, they hate it because they had to do it in school, so they don't want to do it. But I actually like doing it.
My secret tip is also winter swimming. I actually go to an ice hole all winter long. Keeps me very healthy and happy. Jorgen?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of, it was really nice that Justin brought it up because I wanted to follow up in like more general, like find some solace in winter, like actually get out, try the stuff. Well, if you find that you don't like any of it really, then there is not much else to do than to bear with it. Maybe like some light therapy helps, like getting a proper sunlight exposure or mimicking the sunlight, maybe that helps a little bit. But yeah, like and also like in winter, I think it's really important to like get out in the sunny days. So it's not like you go to work when it's dark, then the day is over and you go home and it's dark. So in those few days, like find a way to actually get out from your indoors and
I'm sure your boss
enjoy
will
it.
understand.
Yeah.
And I would add to it that the key to being happy everywhere is the acceptance of the hellhole that we're living. So if you accept everything as it is, you just live in the now and just like be cool with it.
Yeah, Luis, any tips from you besides the hot wife girlfriend part?
It's taken 10 years. I remember that first winter was so hard. I thought by April, like, it was like gonna last forever. it never ends.
Yeah.
And then it does end eventually, and then you get, okay, 10 years later, and I can finally cope with them reasonably well. Just never stop. Just be active as hell. Just keep on going. Don't stop, and exercise.
Warm clothes.
I recently found there's an indoor running track. Cool, I can keep running all the way through. Yeah, it's a bit boring, round and around and around, but it's better than not running. So just try to keep active, try to keep exercising.
Yeah, there's this little Danish concept called hygge, of course. Make yourself as cozy as possible, at least inside your own home. But I would also say go out, not just for sport, but to meet friends, go to theater, go to cinema, go to sauna, actually do the really nice stuff that you might not do in the summer. So that helps. Keep yourself busy and feel comfortable at home. Okay, I have a question from Slido to Margus. Does your book, or let's say then both of your books, do they do more to reinforce gender stereotypes than diminish them? What do you think?
I think both of my books are actually about communication skills. And men need to be approached differently than women. And they both have their kind of like unique buttons to press, right? So I don't think that my books are all about love, for example. Just as simple as that. People, animals, everything need to be just loved differently. That's the whole concept.
Yeah.
I don't know what's funny, but
So I have a question about that as well, guys. Men, do you
Animals,
agree
yeah.
about the theory about the 5 languages of love?
Yes.
I have written about it in my book also.
I've read it, I think, some of the extracts.
What are the
so-
5? I've never heard of this before.
I know this.
Affirmations, the acts of service, physical closeness, material, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and quality stuff.
Yeah.
Quality time.
I do think it's very
time
accurate.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, some women only feel cherished when they have enough gifts.
Or physical
or
closeness.
physical closeness.
It's
Some
really,
men-
it's really, yeah, it's really stupid. Well, I mean, it's
I'm
like
asking
someone
you.
does something for you, but for me, that doesn't mean anything.
That's
It's
what I
sort of
mean,
like,
that's
I
not your
brought
language
you
of
a drink.
love.
I'm like, thanks for the drink.
Yeah, that's not your love language.
Yeah.
Your love
My
language
love
is
So
different.
there's 5 main
I have
ones,
the
and they
physical
say-
love language. It's like, okay,
So
okay.
that's yours. Yeah, very
Oh,
good.
now I get it. Yeah, but someone brings.
Yeah, but
thanks for
I
the
agree,
there are
I
people
agree.
who don't want to be touched at all, only during sex. You know, their love language is totally different. So
Yeah.
that's why it's good to know
But
your
if you like some
partners.
people, you fix the car, then they will like leap into your arms, and it means so much to them.
And
but for
this
me,
is
it's
acts
just like
of service.
you
So,
fixed my car. I don't think
I
it's-
recommend read the theory. There's
Yes.
enough online. You can take a test. So
Yeah,
out of
I don't-
5 languages, everyone is supposed to have like at least 1 or 2 that are really main ones.
dominating ones.
Dominating ones.
And if you know your partner's ones, you can give them extra quality or extra blah 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 amount of it, and
Yeah. So yeah, and read Margus's books. I've at least read one of them. So
did you like it?
yeah, I did. Okay, here's a very, very serious question again. You've presented what is to some a pretty depressing vision of masculinity, insular and constrained by old stereotypes. Do you think things should change?
Who is that for?
Well, I think all of us.
Well, we did that.
presented.
Should they change, or what? Like, what's the ultimate goal of this question? Like, of course they should change. Like,
And they are,
they
I think.
changing?
Are they changing?
What's the?
Well,
It's a little bit harder if it's written down, but yeah.
Sure.
I
So-
think
so-
I
Wait,
think
wait,
there
could
are
you- could
two
you read the question
main
again?
challenges of people. Men need to rise or actually go from their head to their heart more, and women need to control their emotions more or be conscious about them. Then it's like heaven on earth. Yeah.
One thing we haven't at all discussed in this seminar about men in Estonia, that the Me Too movement has not really hit hard in this country. And we do not have this culture of, oh, you can't say stuff. We don't really have cancel culture. We don't really have this culture where men are, where aggressively trying to
I
change
think
the
like
gender balance.
everybody would be out of business in like 24 hours.
You
if
can't
it
have
happened.
cancel culture. There's no one to replace the people with.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not saying this is good or bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying one is better or worse. Don't get me wrong. But we don't have a strong, like that, as it is in America, like if you say something wrong, you know, if you're Louis C.K. and you get your flopper out, then boom, you're off. Like here in Estonia, if you get your woohoo out, you'll probably sell more tickets, right?
It's normal. No?
Like
Yeah.
it's not as much as strong as you might be, as much as you might be strong feminists who believe in these things. That's not happening as strongly here. And in the greater, I think in the greater world, what's happening is men are having a problem to go, well, what do I do now? Because we're all stupid, right? We don't quite know how to integrate, but
That's a stereotype.
right, because we're dumb. But we haven't quite hit
Speak for yourself.
this. What? Oh, Mr. Fucking Intelligence is here. Okay, fine. Apparently, I'm the one in this table who hasn't written a book. All right. We haven't even encountered yet
oral
that
tradition,
we
oral
haven't
tradition.
really strongly got a strong Me Too movement. I don't want to say anti-male is not the wrong way to put it, but like for better or for worse, it's not here. Like you can still be a bit of a chauvinist and it's all right, you know. Like
I don't know if you'd
you're not gonna
agree,
lose your job.
because I think when the movement started, at least I saw a lot of things as a woman, other women coming out, but I
I
agree
think
it
it's
hasn't been
happening,
as
don't
strong
get me
as in other
wrong,
countries.
and it's a good thing, but it's not to the extremes. Not crazy. I don't want to say it's a bad thing.
Estonians don't go to the extremes.
Right, it's not to the extremes that it is internationally or something like that. And I think that in other countries, then that's leaving men not understanding their place because, I don't know, we don't
But is
quite
it,
have
So
do
you're
you know, is it like that bad in Australia, for example? Or
Pretty
is
bad,
it
yeah.
just like...
pretty bad.
So you're
think it
saying
is.
we should be more aware of
No,
this?
I'm not really saying
that
either
it doesn't
way.
happen in Estonia, but we should still bring it out way more.
We've got to keep going on these gender issues, absolutely. We've got to keep going for equality. We've got to keep trying to equalize the gender roles.
I think everyone agrees.
But I mean, I guess what I like about Estonia is that we don't have this strong backlash. Like if you say one wrong thing, then you're out. If you do one thing, then you're out. Now that can be abused, certainly. You can have a politician or someone in power who can do something stupid and they can keep on doing stupid stuff and still be in power. That's certainly not good.
Let's not go into politics
No,
tonight.
whatever that might be. But then you can, but on the other hand, it is kind of, like as a comedian, I like that I can go places with my comedy to issues of gender or politics or something like that. And I want to hope I've got a good point in there. I want to hope that I'm going somewhere decent, but the audiences won't instantly go, boo, hiss, no, this is terrible. Like, hopefully I've got a joke somewhere that actually gets us to a point. And I quite like that in Estonia. But I think we haven't really addressed that. I don't know, we don't have strong, as
So
strong
you're
as in
saying
other
people
countries.
are not as easily offended
Yes.
as in many other countries?
Yeah, and I would, in that topic, Me Too, I think that there's a really powerful position for a woman because woman can ruin man's career if she what's the word, süüdistama, accuses him later, like 10 years later. So I really encourage women. I have had few girlfriends who have been really badly mistreated by men, and they didn't go to the police or anywhere. So I encourage you to do this like when it happens, not 10 years later. Just
That's also a
simple
little bit
as that.
wishful thinking. You can't always do
any
that at the
comment
time.
from the audience on
This is the
that?
nuances of the issue. You can't always go at the time.
We were
There could be
talking
social
about-
pressure, many other
Yeah,
pressures
sorry,
of why you
Justin?
can't.
What was the question again?
I don't know. I was just talking about Me Too. I don't really have a question.
The discussions
in there.
is already
I'm just
running,
trying to
running
stir
itself.
shit
I
here, really.
agree, but I mean, this thought recently occurred to me that masculinity is actually a much broader topic in like, let's say, the history of quote unquote mankind, and that I actually was in Stockholm and we went to something called, I think it's called the War Museum in Stockholm, and they have all the outfits that the Swedish soldiers were wearing when they used to defend, Estonia against Imperial Russia. And we're all like wearing sort of
the
like
Northern Wall.
petticoats, and they had like long curly hair and like the big earring and the broad cutlass on the side. It was a very sort of like dashing, different kind of masculine culture. It wasn't just like a bunch of really monosyllabic tough guys.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sort of swashbuckling nature to masculinity that has been completely either erased or forgotten. I mean, obviously it was a long time ago, but you can call on other periods of time to inform the present, not just the past 50 years or 100 years or something.
Sure. Well, one question also maybe linked to that is that do you think Estonia is still a patriarchal society? And if so, what drives that?
You're the psychotherapist, so.
That's a tough one. It's like these positions. It's like what often happens in debates, and I think we're not even going to get into the debate on that. But it's like you get so easily polarized, and people also putting out their statements is that they even might not feel like completely one way or the other. But because of they kind of would like to see the general consensus shift to one way or the other, they also present their own views as more extremes. So to kind of to contribute the mean to shifting more to the one side. So like I think one shouldn't view these issues as black and white. Like if you really want to talk about that, you should define what is patriarchal culture, what does the asker mean, what do each of the debatists mean, and so forth and so on. Otherwise, it's just going to get into a shitstorm really easily.
Yeah.
Definitely. One interesting theory I read about is that actually some hundreds and hundreds of years ago, I don't remember exactly, Estonia very likely was actually a matriarchal society where women had much more power. They could choose their partners, they could choose their husbands, and they actually could decide much more things back then.
Yeah, we have the Kukruse Emand skeleton in National Museum.
So that's one theory
that.
to consider or to read about. I don't remember all the details at the moment. So again, definitely it's a very very divided topic. So any
I think that
opinions?
when women would rule the world, it would be a much beautiful place. Because man's masculinity and man's energy is more destructive. Women are more I don't know the word in English, but I think it would be a much beautiful, heartwarming and harmonic world when women would do most of the decisions. With the help of men, but they would rule, right?
He wants to sit in the square with the wine and the olives.
Sounds good to me.
Women would okay, so how do you
But
fight?
then we could say, are we a patriarchy? Are we a patriarchy more than what is standard in the world right now?
It's a scale.
It's a scale.
Definitely.
Like, yes, are we more than the rest of the world? Like, yes, the whole world needs to work on this as a social thing. Is Estonia at a different level? Why would we be at a different level? I'm not sure if we're...
And also, like, do you take, like, the rest of the world or just the Western world? That's also a big difference there.
Okay.
There's only one example that I want to bring what makes women superior to men. And I say it as a man. Man builds a house, woman makes it a home. Everything's said, I think.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Very good.
Oh my God.
It is.
Are you married? Can I marry you?
Yeah. That's about gender stereotyping.
Yeah.
I have noticed that, like, when it comes to anything to do with family decisions or children, usually it is quite matriarchal. I remember my first winters here, taking my niece out for a walk, and then having old ladies come up to me and scold me that, the child's scarf isn't like in the right way, or why doesn't it have no gloves. I'm like, it's springtime, it's warm out. She doesn't need a hat. Yes, she does. Stuff like that. So I really felt like I had stepped into their domain. I was sort of being policed. That what do you know? You're just a man. Like, how would you know what the temperature is? I am the maternal figure here, and I will tell you that the child's scarf is not on the right way.
My experience is quite the opposite. It's
really?
going out with that. Like, I don't know anything about the dating scene recently, but I can imagine that. I can imagine that. Like, I took the paternal leave with my first and second kid. And that would be like walking around with my little girls, like all the ladies' hearts melted. Like they look at me with like those gentle eyes, like there's a father like taking care of the kids.
No, it's sweet that you even try. I think that's what they're trying to say.
Oh, maybe.
But these were like the old Vanaema types. They're all gone now. These are like no kukuda naine. It's like minavik.
Yeah. Okay, we have a pretty interesting questions on Slido, but a few more from the audience, maybe.
Let's do it.
Anyone?
Hello, yeah. I'm Ulo. Personal coach as Jörgen, by chance in the same company. And there have been lots of talk about stereotyping. And now my question is about stereotyping yourself. So the question is for all of you, for men sitting there, how you stereotype thinking of yourself as a man here in Estonia that helps you to survive as a man living in Estonia?
Yeah.
I don't consider myself special because I have a penis. It's like, I just, like we spoke about, like, I try to be a normal human being. And that's
Another
that. It's like,
Õhtuleht headline.
it is what it is. So,
I don't consider myself as an alpha male or something. I'm a soul. I have embodied in.
You already said that.
No.
You said you're an alpha male earlier on.
I'm just saying that. Yeah, it might appear so, but I take myself as a soul, right? And I am in this body, so I do the best with it that I can.
Yeah, there is a question to you here as well. So, do you actually think the alpha male mentality is effective, or is it more problematic?
Fuck yeah, it is. If you
so explain yourself now.
Okay. If you believe in yourself, in what you're doing, and you do it constructively, right? Not destructive motherfucker like Hitler was or somebody else. then you
not
just
as bad as Hitler.
then you just live a fulfilled life, and you are happy with yourself, and you let other people around you be themselves also. So it's really easy.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that women have also, they should be more alpha females maybe, if it brings them confidence?
If they want to. Everybody has a different personality. If you are more introvert, then you maybe like to be the Heil Cardinal behind the scenes, yeah?
Great cardinal.
Yeah, exactly. And just fulfill your nature. If you want to be a performer, if you want to lead people, then that's what you have to be good at. Just find your fucking mission in life and you're fucking happy.
Okay, very good.
What were you guys saying?
I was still confused by the question as well.
There was something about an alpha male and then a gray cardinal.
Well, the question was like, how do you use stereotyping to survive as a how do you see yourself?
Yeah.
When you look in the mirror.
Here's my secret. Once in a
How to
while,
survive.
I will watch like the Godfather trilogy, like all the way through.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'll just watch parts of it over and over and over again,
Yep.
and it helps to reaffirm like my sense of masculinity in some way among the Estonian guys who are like really like stoic, and I'm just like, no. Once in a while, I want to see someone like beat the crap out of the guy who deserves it. Get in someone's face or something like that, and it sort of relieves that tension for me. That
So it helps you to go to the Italian roots.
all the bad guys got killed. Okay, I don't know. There was something there was sort of a grace to it. I really identify with or enjoyed. So, I mean, I managed to like rebuild my own internal sense of male self, whatever, even if I'm not, a Don yet. But, it definitely helped. And it's a total like stereotype, but the same way it does
It helps you.
Yeah.
And there are different levels. If you're an alpha male, like one day you can be a beta male, next day, and you can be a gamma male. There was a time when, after an intercourse with a woman, no, I'm just saying.
Wait,
I asked her that, did you enjoy it? I just asked her, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? And do you want me to do something else? She told me just, it was okay. Then I felt like a beta male, and that's okay.
This thing forget it. After that, I can't say. But in the southern Italian culture, there is a strong like revenge respect culture, which I have not encountered in Estonia, and that's definitely helps me vent with that, because at times I definitely feel like something needs to be done, or someone needs to pay that guy back for what he's done, and they're just sort of, normalne.
I don't think
Like,
Estonians are very revengeful.
so what?
but
You know,
again,
he ran over the cat. You know, it happens normal. And like, no. Something has to be done to him, to repay what he has taken from us. That kind of thing. And that definitely helps sort of deal with that energy. Yeah.
This is actually something that I kind of could confirm the stereotypes. If you compare like Estonian men and Russian men as well, and I don't know if you two have kind of encountered that, but Estonian men don't have a honor culture, and I think it's actually a good thing because it often gets in the way. If it's you don't get into fights so much just because somebody looked you at in the wrong way or something like that.
That's true.
And Russians have that way more in Estonia as compared to Estonians.
Oh, it drives me nuts. I hate that. But I actually like it when they come to me because I'll give it back.
Like with their Italian roots.
Well, just I don't take you seriously when you do that to me. I'm not scared of you, whatever your name, Vijay or whatever. I'm not like that was an actual person, but This will happen with the Russian guys,
Well, I also think the Estonian-Russian topic, we've touched upon this on, again, one of our events a little bit, identity and so on. I think it's also very, very interesting, but a bit too long to get into this, of course, like the Estonian, Russian stereotypes. So,
but talking about
I'm glad
Estonian,
you mentioned it, so.
Talking about Estonian men emotionality, then my grandfather was actually Russian, but I was brought up in Saaremaa where I saw no Russians at all. But I think that's the what's the põhjus?
Reason.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm a little more opened up. Yeah.
So,
I have
I
noticed.
think we're all mixed here anyway, but
I've
there's a lot of
noticed in
influence.
my dealings and what I do that if I have to, let's say it's a business dealing and there's something going down and I've got to go set the story straight with this person, let's say in a business environment, I will be more aggressive with the foreigner than I am with the Estonian. Like if it's an Estonian businessman, I've noticed I will take a calmer attitude, and it feels like, it feels like if I get aggressive, it feels like I'm dominating a situation, and that is the wrong way to deal with it. Where, I've had it where it's literally like with another Australian businessman here, and I'm like,
who is he?
Dude, I'm gonna fucking smack you one right now. And I'm like, it's Australian on Australian. Doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want. It doesn't, I somehow felt justified in it. But then also again with Russians, it's a different one again with Russian people where I feel like I can be more, not directly aggressive, just more at it, and that's fine. They're okay with that. Where I wouldn't be with an Estonian in that situation. Yeah, and it just seems to fit, and they're okay with it.
Yeah.
Sure.
What was the question?
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Are you satisfied with the answers? Would you like to specify? Okay, thank you.
I was going to say, once in a while, I do need to let go. I went to pick up my dry cleaning, and they had a problem because the ladies who were working there they didn't know my name, and it's under my name, which I gave to them. But I said, what's your name? I said Justin, and they said, Miss Asja, and I said it's Justin. Mida. Come in here. Can you come in here? I don't understand what he's saying. He's saying some word, but I don't understand. And then the other lady comes in. What's your name? I say my name. What? That's not a name. And then I was like, you two have got to be kidding me. This is the name of the Prime Minister of Canada. God damn it. Where have you been? It is an international... I really did this. It was see on rahvas vaheline nimi, sina pead õppima. And then, I don't think an Estonian guy would do that, but I was really pissed off. And I get it back. It says Usain on it. Like Saddam Hussein. That's what they think I am when I go to pick up my, dry clean. Yeah. Oh, it's Beaver.
Nice
okay.
One. Yep.
Oh, Mulemic, yeah.
I have 100 stories like that of living with my name abroad, so that's a different topic as well, but yeah. There's a really nice question. What do you think about feminism in Estonia? Does feminism have something offered to men? So, very briefly, I do think
Does it have something to offer to men?
Yeah.
what's the men's perspective on feminism?
I like feminism in Estonia if it's with intelligent people. But if it's with radicals, then fuck off. I don't really
What
need
radicals?
it. Yeah.
Where are the
There
radicals?
are a lot.
who is a
Go to
radical
this
feminist?
community on
Where?
Facebook.
Okay,
Who's not afraid
Virginia
of
Woolf.
Virginia Woolf?
Oh, yeah,
They're
I was in
radicals,
that.
bro?
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
like 10,000
Oh, yes.
people there. They're not all radicals.
They're not all
or-
No,
radicals.
I
man.
they're
was-
not.
So
I'm
what
just
is a
saying,
radical
I really
feminist to
like
you?
intelligent feminists. They prove a good point. But if they get radical madhouses, then they.
Isn't that a little bit of a stereotype
But
in
that's
itself,
with that's
brother?
with everything. That's with
But
everything.
what is
It's
a
like-
radical feminist to you? Because to me, again,
who just bah, 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 and doesn't hear the objections or the arguments of
I'm a
other.
man, hear me. Really? Like, they're in their
No,
own Facebook group. Let people talk.
I don't have
So-
a problem with them, but if I see a person who just is that unintelligent that he or she doesn't take time to listen to other person's opinion and arguments, then she's just dumb.
But, I think feminism also has a very little bit of a different image or connotations in Estonia. So
How is it
I
different
think-
then? Or what do you mean by
that's
that?
again only my perception as a woman. But I think in most of the world, feminism is more about equal rights.
Okay.
No gender cap and so on. In Estonia, at least from some sides, people think feminists are the radicals, only want power for women and men suck kind of a movement. So it is very, very misunderstood.
But don't we
It's
usually
not-
have that when we've got quite a larger gender gap?
Yeah.
So of course then we think, well, the crazy feminist lesos, they're
But
all going nuts.
To be
That's
honest,
what
I don't
we-
think most Estonians understand what feminism really is. I don't know if I do, honestly, but that's where all the miscommunication, misunderstandings come from, maybe. What is feminism to you, Jörgen?
What does it have to offer to you?
What does it have to offer? to me? I think it's like currently
You have
it's
two
a-
daughters.
It's a it's
You
a
have to raise them.
necessary counter movement to how things currently are. It's like there are a lot of areas where just people where women are not taken as seriously as men, and that's not normal. I think it's as I said, we're all humans. You shouldn't make too much there are areas where you are free to make a fuss about what gender somebody is and identifies as and so forth and so on.
But I think we're not even there. I mean, this thing about crazy, we've got 17 genders and, all this, what we might identify as the crazy part of where this is the left is taking this internationally. We're nowhere near that in Estonia. We're at we want really
we're not-
reasonable things.
yeah.
Can we get paid the same? Can we have equal opportunity in the workplace? Kind of where I feel where we're at, not like the extremist views that may be common other
And
places.
even then, it's if you make such a big issue out of gender and sex and the identification thing, then you will get also people more strongly identifying themselves with whatever gender or sex they want to think about themselves as. But if you just think about human rights, then it's a normal thing.
Yeah,
but at
but-
the same time, how, as you mentioned, it's like you said, how things currently are. I think feminism is a very very necessary counter movement. It's
Yes, but even if I would be a woman in Estonia, I wouldn't be a feminist because I would. No, I'm just saying that people sometimes use feminism as a reason or why I can't do stuff. But if I would be a woman, I would, or if I would be an ugly man, right? I would still accomplish all the things that I want to because it's all about the will.
I really was a little perplexed by a couple of things that wasn't the Minister of the Interior, which sounds really scary, doesn't it? Like we're going to take you back into the interior. Anyway, he criticized the president for being an over-emotional woman just because she criticized him, It's like that's what
Emotionally overwhelmed, yeah.
I'm emotional.
That's just
woman.
Ekra playing tricks. That's what they do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
their thing.
And then they had this whole thing like the daddies are back in charge. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not my
Well,
dad.
again,
so,
maybe
okay.
let's not really go into politics.
I don't
think
understand,
you're
but I
completely
just
right.
didn't
But
understand
there is one question.
who was not. I don't remember the mommies ever being in charge. So how did the daddies get back in charge? They were always in charge. I don't.
It's not as
Yeah.
bad. There's a question about that. Like, again, in my opinion, women secretly rule Estonia. Not everyone notices it. It's women who get shit done in this country, and then there's the men
Who bring the firewood in?
Yeah, that's my theory. But there's a question about that as well, connected already. So, how are Estonian men, plus two of you, maybe viewing women in politics, as Kersti Kaljulaid as our president? So,
How am I viewing them?
yeah,
How can
do
there
you
be
think there
anything
should
but
be
positive?
more?
Like
Yeah,
How is there anything but positive in that?
yeah, maybe there.
No, I like a female president. It's a new way of doing things in Estonia, but I would sure recommend her to get a better speechwriter. For
Okay.
example, me. Yeah.
Okay. I hope she's watching. I mean, in general, like, should there be more women politics in Estonia?
Sure. I mean, it'd be great if they were all female.
So Kaja Kallas for the next prime minister.
I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer, sure. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Why?
Let
Would
women
there be?
rule the world.
But then we got back to this. I think this is another factor that might come into the Estonian situation. We don't have enough people. There's only so many people to be the politicians. We can't throw them out when they do something stupid because there's no one else there. Maybe there are other issues around that with this low population size. Statistically, you only get so many people who become politicians. So that I don't know if that also then skews the...
Yeah, but on the other hand, you
gender
can't
roles
use
there.
it as an excuse.
Absolutely not.
Iceland has 300,000 people.
Good
so-
point, good point.
So,
They
you
find
know, they're-
people-
they're
And
pretty-
actually,
they're
my
doing pretty good.
favorite parliament member of all time is Marju Lauristin. Really good professor, really good lecturer, really, really intelligent woman.
We've had her
And a
at one of our
self-identified
events as
feminist,
well,
I think.
so,
Cool.
we agree. So anything else from the audience?
More, give us more. This is great.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right behind
Just
you,
behind
Nella.
you.
Kirill.
Throw in one question to diffuse things a little bit.
Good luck with
No,
that.
no,
us away
it's-
from the gender discussions. My name is Kirill. I'm from Moscow. And my question is, how do Estonian men view foreign men on their territory?
Oh,
Very good.
Yes, tell me.
Okay.
Yes.
Threat or motivation?
Okay, I really like all cool people. Intelligent, with good sense of humor. If you have a talent, come here. But yeah, I think every foreign blood that comes to Estonian soil and has a kid will toughen us up and make us better.
Yeah.
Genetically.
Okay. So what do you do? I have a question in theory about that. Like, what do? You really like a girl, you ask her out, and she's like, nah, I have this Australian boyfriend, sorry.
She has a boyfriend. What?
Yeah. What is there more to talk about? Have a happy life. Cool. Thank you
Okay.
for being honest with me.
But you don't feel threatened because it's
Hell
not
no.
an Estonian boyfriend. Okay.
This boyfriend is negotiable, I think.
Yeah, you might ask
He's
that,
in
are you
Australia.
single
Yeah.
tonight?
You know,
This
you know-
kangaroo, get him out of here. He's far away. This guy's an idiot. No.
So
Okay.
And if you like
the
it, you should have put a ring on
the
it.
counter argument to the don't you want to be with a foreign guy? Isn't he exciting or something like that? Right? I think there are cultural things going on there. Like I've had I would say a number of relationships where. Okay, not relationships, but something, you've been for a while, you're seeing someone, you're going out, you're dating them or something, and you realize this can't go on because Captain Kangaroo here will never speak Estonian properly. I'm just stupid like that. I won't be able to do it. I won't be able to integrate on that level. We won't be able to communicate in your native language. And that I appreciate is a showstopper sometimes. And I've had that before, and I get it. Well, I didn't get it at the time, but I got it later. No, she dumped me. I get it now with the perspective of hindsight. I'm not going to be able to do that. And I appreciate that. You want to experience the culture. You want someone who kind of gets that, right? Like, I understand.
Yeah, but I'm really happy that Lewis and Justin have chosen Estonia to be here because you are both really talented guys and bring like, what's the word? Yeah, you panustate.
You put
Contribute.
Yeah, you
contribute.
contribute
Contribute.
much.
Contribute.
And thank you for it.
Contribute.
Yeah.
Well, then Justin speaks pretty good Estonian. Do you think
I
it's
speak
easier
pretty
for
good
you?
English. What?
Does speaking Estonian make your life easier?
Yeah, of course it does. Because if I see like a bunch of neo-Nazis on the street coming my way, then I just
the women.
switch. Then I just switch into Estonian, and then they ask me for a light, and I say no, I don't have one, and then they keep going.
Dude, you're white.
I meant
You don't
the
have a
women.
problem with neo-Nazis here. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
98% of the time, if a man asks you a question in Estonia, that's what it is. Because do you have a light? And it's like, no, I don't, and that's it.
Justin, Estonian men particularly don't like the finger that much, so you might want to control this. Yeah, because that kind of reminds us the
Mother-in-law.
mother-in-law. Yeah.
No, okay.
Just saying.
I'll rephrase it. Do you understand the Estonian culture and Estonian women better due to speaking the language, and vice versa? Does it make their relationships
I thought I
easier?
spoke their language, but tonight I learned another new word. It's just driving me crazy. So I thought it was kodu, and then they said it's koitsa.
That's slang.
I thought it was like
That's hard in
minu
every language.
yores is minsa. What the hell is that? Everything. And then if you talk to younger people, they're like mixing English slang words into the Estonian that I don't even know in English. So it can become pretty impenetrable. And then I sent it to my friend who's a translator, but he's like my age, so he also doesn't know what it means.
So you had 3 daughters to learn from.
Yeah, of course it helps. And also just the weird concepts that are baked into the language to understand how they see things happening in the world is definitely enlightening, gives a different perspective. I've always been fascinated by this phrase, "Tumba me peo kaima," like, it's like, what? We're going to pull the party to go.
Let's get the party started.
Yeah. You start the party. It begins. But you don't pull anything like tumba. It always just like, wow, we're gonna
But you get the metaphor, you see.
Let's get it going. Yeah.
I always I have a different perspective. I don't know if this is a bit unique. Like you and your translator friend, you came here, or let's say you were here and you were with an Estonian woman, and maybe you came here for them, but you were definitely here and you married and you had that long-term relationship, right? And then you learnt the culture by integrating with her family, go to the countryside, I'm hanging out with Vana Emma, we're going to Sauna, we're doing all that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so you get a deep integration through one family and you learn that.
Yeah.
Now, my experience was I never came here for a woman. I just came here for the odd reason that I happen to like this place. Look, don't ask me to explain. I just happened to like it. So I didn't come here for a woman. So I didn't integrate through a family because I didn't come here for somebody. Now, while I have partners and certainly, over the years, but it wasn't that one thing. Now, I have learnt about Estonia through my work, which is selling tickets, which has been analyzing and learning what every town in Estonia is like, what happens in that town, what are they like, what do they do, when do they go out. And so I can tell you, when do you, what's happening on a Tuesday in Buru, right? I don't know, how's pulva going these days? I know what's up. Which is a weird and different way, and how do people buy, and what are their habits like? So I've learnt this sort of much broader analysis of the culture in the country rather than sort of going, say, deep in a family situation.
I wanted to add one thing.
Sure.
That there's certain things that mean more that you, coming from a external origin, you just wouldn't put 2 and 2 together until you've lived here for a while. Like if a woman asked you to come help stack firewood or something like that, there might be a different undertone to that, or picking potatoes together or some kind of, this kind of stuff that it means absolutely nothing to me could mean a great deal to someone else, like he came and we picked potatoes together.
You were clearly like a foreigner who's been here a lot longer.
That's how you win, but that's how you actually win the heart of the Estonian woman.
The potato thing?
Yeah, if you go out there in the field with her all day.
Mushrooming.
Yeah, then you're going to get a lot of love.
It's like you're in the potato zone.
You're in the potato zone, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what warms the heart, you know.
Yeah, it's similar in every country, but
Like,
definitely.
Wow, he picked so many
We're
sacks of
starting to wrap
potatoes.
up slowly. Any more questions from the audience?
Oh, there we go.
Few. Sorry, in the
We've got
back
a few
first.
more there as well. Yep.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm
Hi.
also from Australia.
Look
I've
out.
been here for a month. Yeah, look out.
Yeah, right. All right.
I've been here for a month and was living in Switzerland for 4 years before. So I've been moving slowly north. I just wanted to add to Kirill's question because he asked specifically about what Estonian men think of foreigners here. But tonight we've seemed to have had a very sort of one-dimensional view of what an Estonian man is. You're all very similar age. You're all white men. You seem to all come from fairly similar social class, demographic background.
They are all the same.
We had a hard time.
I have been
Put them
walking
as well.
around. I've only been here a month. I have been walking around and I have seen different colours, different sexualities, different types of dress and everything. And I was just wondering if you could make a comment on like the diversity of men, because, as I said, it seems like we have had one sort of type of man. Yeah, particularly on the sexuality side. We've talked a lot about men and women, but what about men and men, you know?
Very good question, because to be honest, we try to be very, so to say, it's very hard before each event to find interesting people first of all, but we also go for the...
They have to settle with us.
That sounded wrong. We're definitely going for diversity as well. So in most of our events, we try to have a equal number of foreigners versus Estonians and so on, as well as men and women. But I completely agree on the diversity part, that it's a bit harder in the Estonian society as in many others to find maybe people of color.
Dave Benton was busy.
Yeah. We've had one event on the LGBT and tolerance part where people felt comfortable enough in the audience as well to speak about different sexualities and so on. So I definitely agree it's a topic in Estonia. To be more, so to say, open-minded and yes, not everyone is straight, white and male. So thank you for bringing this up. I don't know how you feel about that, so...
I think that love is one. So whether a man loves a man or a man loves a woman, it doesn't really matter.
But which one of your books should they then buy?
Okay, I didn't get the...
Both!
I didn't
But
get the...
it's like
no,
both, yeah.
I didn't get the question, sorry.
Yeah,
Which
it's
one of
like,
your books
like
should they
if you say that that kind of love is more like the central
one,
thing, right?
yeah.
Like can if let's say in case of homosexual men, like could they still benefit from one of your books?
Of course, because my first book is called Way to Man's Heart.
Okay.
And it's just about it's about communication, how a man wants to be approached, right?
And loved.
So it doesn't matter if a man reads it and approaches other men romantically.
Have you
then
road
it's
tested
the
this
same.
with other men? Like, have you really talked to gay men and gone, yo, this book, you got to check it out?
I can put no. I can put myself in other people's perspective. So if I would be a man, I would benefit from my book, as well as if a woman reads, if a lesbian woman reads my book, How to Love a Woman, she can also use it. So no problem. I think, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then there's also bisexuals who can read both.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah! My favorite ones.
Any more comments? I do think
what
it's
were
an
we talking
important
about?
topic.
Diversity?
Diversity is a difficult one because they're all white. Like,
No, they're not.
there's a certain, well, to a certain extent.
They came from the east. They're from the Urals. They're Asian, I think, right? Estonians.
All right,
They're from
fine,
Central
let's go
Asia.
here.
Okay.
So we'll definitely keep
I
that
will-
in mind
Right,
for our
don't.
next
No,
events.
I think it's like it's in such flux that when I moved here in 2003, if I would go into the supermarket and see a person who was not Estonian, I would stare at them, even not being one myself. If I saw like an African guy or something in the supermarket, I would drop the bottle or something. Like, who are you and what are you doing here? This kind of feeling, or yeah, and it's changed so much just in that short period of time. So maybe we
agree.
don't even notice it. But it's a new thing. I think the diversity is rather new. I mean, there were like Soviet era migrants who came from like Korea or someplace like that, but
Very few.
very few.
yeah. I mean, I know a handful.
Caucasian more.
I think
Yeah.
Estonian racism is more like in Australia, our fine country. We invaded the country. We went to the place where there were black people, and we said, "No, we're going to put you down." And we went in front of them. And went, "No, get out of here. We've invaded." Like Estonian racism is more like, "I don't like black guys. I've never seen a black guy before." It's very much an issue of just learning. And when you actually, most of the time when these people get confronted with this, they shut down almost straight away with these things, I think. And I think and now racism is still bad. All forms of racism are bad, but I think we need to address it in a different way that it's that. So for example, I feel that myself in 10 years, I have never experienced racism in Estonia.
So
Now,
white, straight.
because I'm
male.
white and I'm vaguely recognizable to people. Not enough, they're like, "Oh, that's Lewis." They're like, "You're the guy from the thing." You know, and that's enough. I'm a familiar face enough that I don't get a problem in a situation where I think I have heard many stories where maybe the skin is different or there's some other circumstance and there's been a problem. But
I've had problems with people because they think I'm Spanish, but then when I explain
Huge
that I'm
problem.
not, then it's okay. They say like, "Are you fucking Spaniard? You know, ¿acaso el kuradi hispana?" And I'll be like, "Hey, I'm not. I'm not.
had
It's
that
okay. It's okay."
I
and
had
then
that
they're like, "Oh,
experience
okay.
when I tried to join
You're
ECRA.
Italian. That's okay. It's okay. I won't let you near my sister, but it's okay."
I tried to join ECRA once and they thought I was Spanish. And they were like, "You Spanish?" And I went, "No, I'm Australian." And they went, "Oh, okay, you Tony Abbott, turn away the boats. You are okay." And like I got like racism credibility with them because I was Australian.
We should both join.
But there is one company that really does us a favor. It's Volt. Half of the couriers right now are black or from somewhere else, and it's really cool, I think. I order like Volt like maybe 10 times a month, and half of them are black people, and I like it. People just. I'm just saying that people get used to the seeing people from other cultures, and they're more tolerant then.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Sure.
So,
Integration in general
just
is
as a reply
important.
to
It's good,
Hannah
too.
as well, that we are definitely planning a few of our next events on the topic of tolerism, racism, and so on in Estonia, as well as diversity. So we'll keep you posted.
But no Spaniards.
Yeah. So maybe just one last question from the audience, and then we'll wrap it up.
A Spaniard. No?
Hi, my name is Saba. I've also been here for a number of years. Actually, the question of racism, I don't want to too much like related to racism, but in general, at least in my experience, I've noticed that in Estonia, if you're in some sort of a trouble on the street, you know, you have had an accident or you are subject to racism, people try to like avoid you or like just get away from the scene and not really sort of address the situation. Just wanted to ask you from your experience, is this something you have also observed, you have also seen? And if you think this is like a problem, how do you see it would be best to sort of like maybe change that?
It's a damn shame if
That's really
somebody
sad.
has experienced some kind of like discrimination on behalf of their color. But I think that people,
Not just color. I mean, in general, isn't that...
just foreigners.
No,
right, so-
maybe in general, maybe even towards other Estonians. I've heard this story actually from other Estonians who were in trouble. For example, they were being
Beaten
somehow
up or
assaulted or something, and
Yeah.
then they,
Yeah,
you know, people
Polemino
just
Asti.
pass by without really trying to
I
help.
think they're both examples, but yeah, what do you think? I mean, I've seen enough people helping other people, so
I think it's like it's
Justin's case as well.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
go on. Jörgen.
yeah, it's like I think it's like a matter of general sense of security in a society, and I think it's changing for the better. And it's
Yeah.
you kind of have I think you have kind of proof on kind of the same change from New York, actually, where it has changed far better with the drops in crime rate and all that, and then people get more engaged and that, and it was way bad in like mid-90s and that, like people didn't want any attention because the overall sense of security was just so low.
Yeah.
And it's getting better nowadays, but it's still like it's obviously like, I think it's human wants to feel safe. Like it's there have been experiments on that. If there's something going on and you're not sure that if there's actually a problem, that's especially problematic. If your brain can make an easy decision, like, oh, that situation is like probably all right, or somebody's already dealing with that, then people in general don't get engaged. No. But at the same time, the human tendency is that if there's clear responsibility, if somebody kind of points at you and says like, hey, you guy with the blue shirt, please come help me out with that, then usually people tend to go. If they see like they're the only person in that situation who can help, then also. So
yeah, and if your car broke down, Estonians were there, right?
Yeah.
Just giving you a push.
They showed up, yeah.
Yeah.
Superman.
Well, maybe we should start a page like the humans of New York, humans of Tallinn or Estonia.
Yeah,
the stories.
I'm surprised there actually isn't one yet. Maybe there is, I don't know.
It's a startup by now. They've raised venture capital. They're a unicorn already, I'm sure of it.
Unicorn.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wrap it out for tonight.
Sorry.
Oh, yep.
There is one very popular question from the Slido.
Sure.
Okay.
Bring it on.
And that's specifically for Louis and Justin. What was the most surprising thing you learned about Estonian women?
Mida vittu, I think.
Let's finish on that.
Haista paska. The most surprising thing I ever learned about an Estonian woman was...
Besides the potato picking.
They want their space. You're going to have to give them their space, like...
Space.
There's a strong sense of that. Space. Not NASA, not like that. Space.
While you're thinking, there's another question here which is very popular. It's how can you really excite an Estonian man or make him happy? That's, I guess, maybe for you guys, Margus and Jörgen.
Just be normal. Yeah, I think it's very much up to matter of personal preferences. Like, show an interest in another human being, and then they appreciate that, and that's that. So I don't know, Margus, if you want to add something, how to excite an Estonian man.
Okay, how to excite an Estonian man. I think I have, like I said, I have been to many dates. It's just really hot when you have an opinion. Like if you don't have one, then men don't get excited, right? So I really like intelligent women who have a great sense of humor, and that's that. That already turns me on. Not much needed. Yeah.
Cool.
Most surprising thing about Estonian women. Christ, 10 years ago, I was so retarded back then, I can't think of like why.
What's surprising now?
What's surprising now? How small the dating pool is at 40.
I think the thing that like I wouldn't say surprises me, but or even bothers me, but let's say continues to catch me off guard is the abruptness in the culture, the reading between the lines. It just happens like in everyday life. I just don't understand what's going on because no one actually told me what's going on. They just assume that I know everything. But I don't actually know anything, and it just happens like with my editors. You know, did you get the column? Yeah, oh yeah, we got it 3 days ago. It's already in the newspaper. Well, I didn't know that because you didn't send me a letter that told me that you got it. I sent it to you, but you didn't respond. And even talking to my daughter on the phone now, she'll hang up without saying goodbye, and I'll be talking in the supermarket for 2 minutes, like, did you do this? How was that? Blah. And then I realize I'm not talking to anyone, and then I see that the phone call ended 2 minutes ago, and I feel like a total idiot. I mean, how can you do that? She's like, well, we already had the conversation, so it's over. And I don't understand why it's so difficult to just show this sort of like basic common courtesy in everyday situations with people, like, yes, I received, because for them it's like, Yeah, we already know. Like, what's the point? What's the point? Everything's like, Miss Bunk done. And it's like, but I'm being nice to you. You're my kid. You know, why have you, I raised you and now you're one of them, you know.
So more clear communication.
Yeah, so that continues to surprise me. Like, just hung up on me. Okay, anyway. Well, that's, I mean, come on. When you're talking about Estonian women, these are my children are Estonian women, so. So yeah, that continues to surprise me. Oh my God.
No.
How does that happen that you just hang up on dad? Like,
well, thank you so much. Give
it's
a
not right.
really big warm up applause to our performers. Speakers.
I am applauding you and you.
Sorry, just before we finish, quickly, we did a little statistics. We have over 100 people from 30 different countries. So applause for that as well. Yeah.
You guys are better than Facebook.
And also, we need to say thank you to a big sponsor or supporter, Telliskivi Creative City. So applause for them as well.
So.
And applause for Eelika.
Thank you. I have a flight exactly in an hour, so I have to take off to the airport now. Thank you so much. Woo. Have a good evening. Woo.
So just also, if you want to join with a team for drinks, we're going to Pudel Bar. Also, for the next event, just keep an eye on Astonishing Evenings Facebook page. It will be about racism in Estonia in November. Thank you.